So, as for the second part of integrating into daily life, this one, the thought of guilt came to mind for this half. I know I said family. I want to discuss that too, but let's see if it ends up being in this video as well. But guilt, because guilt used to be a very big thing for me. Like, guilty that I wasn't doing this, guilty that I wasn't calling this person, guilty that I was acting like this or saying this, the wrong thing, whatever. Guilt, 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 guilt. And I think a lot of humans just feel that in general. Because that's separation. So, tying this in with non-duality, when you understand that there is no separation, guilt falls away, things like that, because there is no you should be doing. You're only doing what you're doing. Once again, nothing is separate. So me talking right now, instead of me, I don't even know what I should be doing right now. I'm working, but it's quiet, thankfully. But me, let's say I like to work out. Me making this video instead of doing a 30-minute walk right now. Let's say a year or two ago, anxiety would build from that, because I would be like, oh my God, I could be walking right now. I'm sitting here, just sitting here, and work is quiet, and I could be walking. And that would literally create anxiety in me, because it would, the thoughts of that would follow, of like, oh, if I'm not walking now, then this is my pattern, and I'm going to gain weight and blah, blah, blah. Like, the thoughts would keep attaching to a story from there. Whereas now, with the idea of no separation, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm doing this. That's it. And the beautiful part about that is it always seems to connect. So whatever you're doing, it seems to play out and connect in the apparent future. That's where like life comes together, and the synchronicities and everything, because everything is perfection. Like, even if this is a good example that I have coming to mind. Even if you aren't doing so let's say I'm waking up late for work, or let's say work was coming in right now and I had work to do and I wasn't doing it and I was making this video instead. Life supports itself, so there's a natural balance to life. And once you learn this message, you aren't or love, because that's what we really are. Awareness and love, presence, same thing. Love doesn't do that. Love doesn't cause harm to itself. The body doesn't cause harm to itself. So you don't consciously do harmful things. That doesn't seem to play out once you hear this type of message and once you understand this. So if you are not doing your work, or you do have a workout routine that you follow, and you have like skipped a couple days of that, and you're overeating too much instead of working out, like you are doing harmful things, the conditioning is, the thought of the balance will keep appearing until you self-correct, until the conditioning can get back to its, I guess, homeostasis, the balance level. So if you continuously aren't doing your work, then the thought will keep coming up for the character to not do the harmful behavior and to do your work. So it ends up addressing itself. Now, you may never do your work, and you may end up quitting that job, but whatever happens is supposed to happen. So that's why I can't tell you what's right. That's why there really isn't no right or wrong. It's just what feels harmful or not to the character, and how the character ends up balancing itself out, in a sense. But yeah, things like guilt and harmful behaviors seem to fall away once you come to understanding yourself, and tying all of this stuff in together. Family, I can tie in family with this. So, because that was a lot of guilt for me, like guilt of not calling my grandmother, guilt of not calling this person, guilt of not being the friend that I should be, guilt of not answering the phone, just blah, 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 blah. Because I'm an empathetic person, I care. So that was a big thing for me. And what's happening now, so I went through a stage of kind of extreme radicalness, of just like extreme boundaries. Like, no, I'm not doing this stuff. Like, even if I feel the condition feels the need to call this person or reach out to this person or have this friend, I would do it, and then it went into a stage of radically not doing it, like selfishly not doing it. And that's what needed to happen, because I was so over compromising myself for so many years that a radical opposite kind of followed that. So once again, what needs to happen will happen, will show. And then it balanced itself out. So I'm in a stage right now of balancing, integrating. Instead of doing the opposite of staying away and not calling and not reaching out, I do it if it comes up and if it feels necessary to do. For example, calling my grandmother, like I'll call her when I feel like calling her now, instead of like beforehand it was calling her all the time and giving into the story. Then it went into not calling her at all, or just kind of staying away. And then now it's like, oh, okay, I'll do it when I do it. And then what I tend to notice is she's self-soothing. She's learning to, because she had a tendency to, if you didn't call her, she would get angry at you and push you away, blah, blah, blah. So now she is learning to self-soothe with me not calling her, or she has several kids and whatnot, but she's learned, it sound like, from I spoke to her yesterday, that she's learning to not depend on that so much. So here you are thinking that you need to be doing something, and lo and behold, life is working itself out with whatever you are doing. Once again, whatever you're doing is what you are supposed to be doing, no matter what, because that's what is. No separation. What was I going to say next? You know, this happens to me all the time. I ended up speaking to a family member on the phone the other day. I moved away from just talking on the phone a lot, over compromising myself and just talking too much. So it moved into a state of just like chilling. And finally got back on the phone the other day with some family members, and ended up expressing my stories to another family member who was going through a similar situation. And point is, it came together at the perfect time. Me stepping away allowed that person or those people to go through whatever they are going through, and then I came right back in at the time when I needed to come back in. Make sense? So I know y'all hear those messages. That's work right there. But yeah. There's a natural flow to things, because nothing is separate from what is actually happening. So guilt falls away. That's what I'm just trying to say here. Guilt falls away, and the I should be doing this and I shouldn't be doing this, that falls away, because whatever you are doing, and life will connect from whatever you are doing, apparently. And I think we say apparently, well, I say apparently, because words and concepts and sensations and images and videos and all of this stuff that we created are just things playing out. So they look like these things are happening, but this is such a mystery that we even exist and that all of this is happening, that I have to say apparently, because like it apparently seems these things are happening, but what the hell is really going on? How do I exist? What is coming out of my mouth right now? What is this? So that's why I use the word apparently. I don't know if other non-duality speakers use the word apparently because of that, but for me it's apparently this is what seems to be playing out in my experience, in my understanding of things. So yeah. Okay. Back to work.